What's up, guys? BradThomas here from Gold Boys, and we are back with another college football slate, which means I'm going to give you my favorite bets. But before I do, thank you to Sleeper Picks. Make sure you use promo code Gold Boys to get up to $100 on your first deposit. Or if you love me, use code Brad Thomas. Also, thanks to Pickett Sports. Remember, always shop your lines. If you're listening, make sure you rate, like, and subscribe this video. But without further ado, let's get into the games. The first game, big noon kickoff. That's Michigan at Penn State. Man, what implications lie on this game? Winner could head to Indiana for the Big Ten championship, but I don't think it's going to be close. It's a 5.5 point spread in favor of the Wolverines of Michigan. I know that Penn State plays really tough in Beaver Stadium. Like, there's no denying that whatsoever. But James Franklin's record against top 10 teams has been atrocious. Only 2 wins in his last 20 games against top 10 teams. I don't think he gets the job done here. Michigan brings in first a lot of controversy. Yes, we know about the sign stealing, but I don't think that stops them. They bring in the nation's best defense, only allowing opponents 6.7 points per game. Yes, less than a touchdown per game. They've shut out some of the best Big Ten offenses, and I know this is going to be the best offense they play against, and I know that Penn State has the 29th ranked offense on offensive success rate. But we got to remember, this is a Penn State team who's running it up on teams like Maryland and Indiana. So I'm not going to put too much stock into that. One thing that I've seen from this game that makes me excited to bet it is the lack of explosiveness from this Penn State offense. More importantly, the lack of explosiveness from quarterback Drew Allar. Drew Allar has struggled to throw the ball deep. I don't want to say if struggle is the right word, but he just hasn't done it. Whether that's the wide receivers not getting separation, James Franklin knowing his quarterback's limitations, or Drew Allar just doesn't have the confidence in his arm or his decision making downfield. Even at one point, there was someone in a press conference who asked James Franklin, "What's the deal? Why are you not throwing the ball downfield?" He didn't like that question very much, but that means I'm going to fade Drew Allar and go under 1.5 passing touchdowns in a parlay. Sure, he had 3 passing touchdowns last game. Sure, 2 games before that, he had 2 passing touchdowns. No one's had 2 passing touchdowns on Michigan so far this season. If the Nittany Lions find the end zone, and if they find the end zone twice, it's going to be on the ground with their 2 really good running backs in Katron Allen and Nick Singleton. I don't think that they're going to want to test Michigan downfield because in a game like this, a game that's probably projected to score about 40 or less points, you don't want any turnovers. You want to maximize your potential. When Penn State played against Ohio State, I know that game was in Columbus. They didn't find the end zone twice. So I don't think they're going to do it against Michigan. In the other part of that parlay, I am going to take Michigan money line. The Wolverines, this is probably the best team that Jim Harbaugh has had. The Wolverines are tough. Third in EPA margin here. Second EPA per pass, 18th in EPA on the run. Defensive success rate, we talked about number one. I think it's going to be overwhelming for Franklin. You want to talk about Michigan not playing anybody? I don't care. That stuff is nonsense to me. They're passing what we call, or the College Football Playoff Committee calls, the eye test. They know they need to win this game because if they lose this game, they're all but out of the college football playoffs with their weak strength of schedule. So again, that parlay is Drew Allar under 1.5 passing touchdowns and Michigan money line. Let's talk about the other game, the SEC, Tennessee at Missouri, game in Columbia. Missouri coming off a tough loss to Georgia, a game where I was pretty impressed with how well they played. They hung in there, they battled it out. Going into Athens and playing in between the hedges already is difficult. Going in and playing against a team who hasn't lost in over 2 years is even more troublesome. And they held their own. I believe they scored the first touchdown. At times, it looked like they were probably going to win the game. Ultimately, they barely covered the spread, but you know what they say: good teams win, great teams cover, and Missouri has looked the part. On the other side of the ball, we have Tennessee, who is coming off a thumping of their last opponent, scoring upwards of 55 points. But they're still sour about the third Saturday in October, that rivalry game against Alabama, where they were shut out in the second half and pretty much ended their season or ended any hopes they had of winning an SEC title this year. But the two teams are pretty interesting in terms of offense, defense, and what they bring on. Both have pretty impressive offenses. Missouri offensive success rate 22nd, and Tennessee's offensive success rate 20th. If we look at EPA margin on offense, 25 and 26 respectively for home and away. I don't know if I want any part to do with the spread. If you were to ask me, I'd say I lean Missouri. Missouri beats Tennessee. Tennessee's not as explosive as they are, but we have seen glimpses from Joe Milton and his big, massive arm, just not really precise. But I'm gonna fade or pass on the spread here. Why? Because Missouri's best wide receiver and arguably one of the best wide receivers in the country, Luther Burden, is injured. Whether he's a decoy or he's not going to play at all, I don't know. Eli Drinkwitz said that he's not very optimistic about the injury. But what that means is we have an angle that we're absolutely going to play because whether Luther Burden is injured or he's playing and he's a decoy, the ball's going to be thrown by Brady Cook in this offense, and it's going to be thrown to somebody. That leaves two primary options. Mookie Cooper, whose line is set at 43 and a half, but Mookie Cooper, even with Burden's injury, only saw 3 targets last game. And he's not that big body wide receiver like Burden is, only standing at what, 5'9", 5'10". The other option, Theo Weiss. I took Theo Weiss over 60 and a half receiving yards. Remember to always shop your lines. There could be better lines available at the time of this video that you're seeing it. But Theo Weiss is 6'2" wide receiver, big frame, big catch radius, and a reliable target. In the games where Burden has been hampered, he saw 10 targets for 131 yards. Last game saw 9 targets, cleared this 60 and a half target. You're going to have to score points in this game. I think we see over 50 points scored total between the two, which means they're going to have to throw the ball. Schrader's a good running back for Missouri, but he's not going to get the job done alone. And we know Brady Cook's going to throw the ball 20 plus times, maybe 30 plus times, giving ample targets for Theo Weiss. So again, that's Theo Weiss over 60 and a half receiving yards. If you enjoyed these bets or you're tailing along, make sure you smash the like button, ring the bell that notifies you when anytime we go live or we have a video drop, and comment your favorite bets inside the comment section. Again, thank you to Pickett Sports and Sleeper Picks. I'm Brad Thomas, and best of luck this weekend.